Hello and welcome back to the channel. My name is Dan, aka FND Guitar, and today I'm going to be reviewing this PRS SE Silver Sky, the John Mayer Strat. And to give you some context, I have owned this since its release. I was in on the pre-orders when the video came out with John and a few other great players playing these guitars. I was absolutely taken in, hook, line, and sinkered. And then there's a guitar store here in Jakarta called High End Guitar, which are a massive PRS retailer. And they had an incredible discount on the pre-orders. I think it was 7.9 or 8.9 million Indonesian rupiah, which is this many USD. So it was such a good discount. I kind of didn't think too hard and just went for it. So after a year or however long it's been, I think a bit longer than a year, of ownership, I kind of wanted to give an update on how I feel about this guitar, the good, the bad, and then what I'm going to be doing with this guitar. So when I got this guitar, I took it out of the case, looked it over. Everything is made really nicely. Much like the SE Custom 24 I had, I think the SE line has a really good standard for finishing their instruments. Everything plays nicely, intonation's great, and stays in tune. They are workhorse guitars. They're fantastic for that. However, a couple of negative things with this guitar. Firstly, I think the only factory flaw I had is that there's a couple of frets here which are missing what I assume is wood filler or something that goes underneath a couple of these frets, which not the biggest deal. If I had paid retail price for this guitar and I'd waited and I'd probably be more upset. But for me personally, I'd kind of just let it go. It is what it is. The other negative thing I have with this guitar is the knobs. This guitar has never been on the roads, never been to a gig, and yet somehow two of these knobs have cracked. I literally have no idea how it's happened. I've heard other people also say that the plastic parts on this guitar are just, I don't know, they're not the usual quality that you expect. The other thing I don't like is the plastic tuning pegs, but these are also on the American Silver Sky. I'm sure there's a reason, probably like in case you get sweaty on stage or something. But for me personally, I would much rather they were metal. The plastic just feels cheap. So back to the good, when I got this guitar, I literally didn't touch my other guitars for weeks because this thing just works. It's one of those guitars that just does what you want it to do. Stays in tune, plays great. You can use the whammy, you're not scared. And for that reason, if this was your only guitar, I think you'd be happy and you could do everything you wanted to do. However, the funny thing for me is that, and what I wasn't expecting is that this has not really scratched my itch for a Fender Strat. And I think that's a good thing. because these are two separate things. They look very similar. And obviously John is well known for playing a Fender Strat. But this doesn't behave or sound like any Fender Strat I've had before. I used to own an American Standard Fender Strat, which I really loved. I had Fat 50s custom shops. And there's just a certain openness to the Fender Strat sound. And this one is more focused. In a way, it sounds compressed, which is not, again, not a bad thing. I have used this in situations where I'm doing more poppy R&B stuff. I did a whole EP just with this guitar. I'll link it below. And there were some riffs in that, which this guitar was just perfect for. So I guess the ultimate question is, should you get a PRS SE Silver Sky, or should you go for a Mexican Stratocaster, or possibly a used American Stratocaster? And I hate that this is the answer. I hate, because it's so middle of the road. But the truth is, go for the one you like the sound of more, because at the equivalent price point, which I think the retail price for this is probably a little high, the equivalent Fender is also going to be a total workhorse guitar. It's totally going to stay in tune, be intonated correctly when you have it set up. You're going to be able to use the whammy, and it's going to sound great. So it comes down to A, what do you like the sound of more? B, what do you like the look of more? C, well, something we haven't considered is the shape of the neck. It's not fat, but it's definitely not slim. Like here's a modern, this is a American Telecaster 2015. American Standard, and this is much thicker. Well, not much thicker, but thicker. It's not baseball bat, it's not modern, it's somewhere in the middle. So if that's comfortable for you, personally I prefer slightly slimmer, but if that's comfortable for you, then yeah. If you prefer this sound, this more compressed sound, this percussive, you will really enjoy this guitar. This is by no means a bad guitar. Now, I personally am selling it. I'm taking it to the music store today, to Smosky Music, to sell it. Not because I think it's a bad guitar, just because for me personally, I would like to try some other guitars. I'm moving on. There's other stuff I'm looking at. I don't know if I'm going to go even for a Fender Strat at the moment. But don't be discouraged. If you're watching this and you're in the market for this, if you like how John Mayer sounds, you want to try and get close to that, this is a great guitar to do that, especially if you can get a discount. Full retail, it's a bit much. You know, I don't want to say it's overpriced, but if you can get it at a discount, it's a good deal. Okay. And that's my review of this SE Silver Sky. I want to thank you so much if you made it this far into the video. Please consider subscribing. I'm going to be doing much more gear reviews. I know this channel is mostly beats right now, but be patient, they're coming. And I hope to see you in the next video.